I'm going to do 3 rounds of the United States and walk through my thought process on how I'm kind of narrowing down where I'm at within the United States. Not being able to move, not being able to, go based off of signs and moving around, hoping you get lucky and see, welcome to Pittsburgh on a sign. So, 1 minute per round. I've noticed like with Geoguessr, it kind of counts you down even when you're just talking or between rounds. You got to really keep it moving. But I like that. Like I say, I don't like to move. I think the no moving, panning, or zooming, that gets a little extreme. But that's just my opinion. I do like to be able to zoom in on features, trees, houses, stuff like that. So let's start. Here we go. Loading location. All right, so here got something that's got some topography. Carlton Heights, Claridge. You have a mix of pine and I don't know if it's a maple turning red for the winter, some kind of deciduous. Get the little brick house with the siding on top. I'm kind of sensing maybe like a little bit of a eastern Ohio, maybe a Pennsylvania, maybe like a Virginia or Maryland, just because it's not flat. But you need to be either kind of way over the hump here. I'm gonna gamble a little bit on the East Coast. Okay, at least I had the right state. This is the Pittsburgh area. All right, keep it moving. Kind of Pittsburgh outskirts there. The city of Pittsburgh's got a little more of a distinctive feel to it. Okay, here I'm just seeing a lot of green. I know exactly, this is in eastern Missouri, the St. Louis sign notwithstanding, although that's helpful. South on Missouri 21 to Potosi, so you're north of Potosi. This whole like kind of southeastern part of Missouri. If I could find Missouri 21 in the next 10 seconds, okay. Yeah, it'd be something like this. Let's just guess it. Okay, 20 miles off. I'll take that any day of the week. Of course, the sign helps a lot. But the rolling hills, the not super steep hills and stuff are also good clues that you're in a kind of a beginning of the Ozarks. All right, palm trees, no hills off in the distance, kind of this slightly overgrown look, this really patchy, spongy grass. This all points to Florida. I don't know if I can see the back of anyone's car. The due north and south roads sometimes mean you're like kind of on the Atlantic coast. Orange River Elementary. Yeah, maybe we're in South Africa. Bad joke. All right. We're in Florida. I'm going to guess more Atlantic coast, not like middle of Miami, but sometimes these other towns in the suburbs stick to that north-south grid, and that's why I'm guessing that. But, am I super surprised that it's not quite there? Not really. Another one got a little palmetto tree, whatever you want to call that, but this is more, got some cactus, so definitely more west. Unless somebody just took some cactus and put it to Miami, because this whole elevated freeway, you could get that in LA too. And there's front plates. I don't think Florida has those. I think this is California. Ford, McDonald. Yeah, I think we're somewhere in the general LA area. I don't think I'm going to get more specific in the next 6 seconds. So I just want to, and maybe not an area with a lot of tree coverage, so more southeast kind of. Clicked away. It's actually Bakersfield. Okay. Still 4,000 points. Still not too far away. Okay, what do we got here? This is, I don't know, maybe part of New York. Got these brownstones, or what you want to call them. 22nd Street and 4th Avenue. I think we're going to get 5,000 here, because that's probably Brooklyn. Brooklyn does that Street Avenue thing. If I can just zoom in fast enough with this choppy thing I got here. Let's just get a click in to make sure we don't screw up. But the 22nd and 4th, you know, maybe I'm revealing a little bit too much with my roots, but that's 4th Street. So 22nd Street. It's going to be more up here. Ugh, crap. Maybe it's in Queens. Shit, I don't know. I'm pretty close. Ah. Because there's different parts of Brooklyn with different street numbers and shit. Whatever. 4952. Okay, that was the 5th one of the round. Having so much fun, I didn't even realize. So, felt like generally everything went right there. 21,000 points on 5 things. This was a little helpful. I think I would have gotten this general area, but I could have gone Kentucky, West Virginia. So having that sign was a bailout there. I felt this location was pretty vague. I'm glad I glommed onto that. Okay, one more round. 2 more rounds, I think I promised. You know, I'm doing the U.S. only. I like to dial in on certain countries. In the U.S., Brazil, Russia, Mexico, Indonesia are kind of like big ones where you really lose a lot of points even if you guess the country right just by not being in the right part of the country. I think this spongy grass, I think this, I think we're kind of further south, like this kind of architecture, cheap apartments, kind of not a very nice road, kind of overgrown look. This can happen anywhere, but it statistically happens more often in the south, but I don't think you're like deep, deep south. I think you could be like maybe inland a little bit, North or South Carolina. Alabama's a decent option too. 2,600 points, 319 miles away. I'll take it. What do we got here? Some big trees in the distance, kind of patchy grass, some pines. I almost want to say you're out west somewhere. This kind of grass, it's got a little bit of an overgrown feel for the east, but now I'm like, am I in the Central Valley? Am I crazy? This is more like Utah or something. I'm gonna go somewhere in the Central Valley. It just has a little bit of that vibe to me. But it's tough, and honestly, if I'm way off, I wouldn't be too surprised. But I hope I'm close. I was in Idaho. In the Boise area. Good to know. At least I was on the right half of the country. We got here Billings Federal Credit Union. Sometimes you get a gimme. This looks, in a town like Billings, I can't imagine that this is very far from downtown. Got a 4 or 5 story building. North 26th Street. Okay, I didn't see the other cross street. Okay, North 26th Street in Billings, Montana. Let's get a click in. We do the Avenue Street thing. God, this is tricky. I don't see it. Is 26th Street close to downtown? Looks kind of weird. Alright, well, 420 yards. Alright, I'll take that. 4 or 5 here. This also looks kind of western. Getting a lot of western ones in this round. Applewood, Mobile Estates. Some stuff to the north, some definite stuff to the east. Like very quickly becoming tall. Usually when you have something in the east sprouting up that fast, You're either in Utah or California. That kind of a flowery thing. Huh. No cars real close enough. I'm gonna gamble here on Utah. I don't think in the middle of Salt Lake City. Maybe down here around Provo. Ah, nice. Could have been worse, but that's pretty solid. Trees, mix of pine, deciduous. This is always kind of a good giveaway sometimes. It's the middle of the winter because all the trees have dropped their leaves, but it looks very kind of just warm and comfortable. Got this spongy southern grass. School is in session. Crawford and Allison. Got kind of this southern style, like brick ranch house. Did I say you see this style just a little bit more often in the South? I think we're kind of in the northern Alabama, northern Georgia, maybe Mississippi. Mississippi looks a little more rough sometimes. Let's go like out here in this area maybe. But if it's Atlanta, if it's Charlotte, I wouldn't be super shocked. And it was halfway between. Should have just split the difference and gotten lucky between Atlanta and Charlotte. Still not a bad round at all, by my opinion, if we're not moving or doing anything. So, yeah, this one I didn't feel super confident about. This one I was a little worried it was going to be in California. Just that wall of mountains that goes up that quickly. I don't know if you really get that over here. Montana, that was a giveaway. These other two, I actually kind of got them backwards. Interesting. Okay, in the third round. So hopefully, it's just kind of like repetition and seeing someone else's thought process as they work through these problems on where they might be. This is almost similar to the very last map I had. You got these tall southern pines, spongy southern grass, kind of rolling hills, but nothing too extreme. Little, even the brick house with the same kind of roof. So you know what? I'm gonna get burned. I'm gonna go halfway between Atlanta and Charlotte, and it'll probably be in Alabama this time. Ah, not too bad. 4,300. All right, what do we have here? Jensen Supermarket. Well, all things being equal, it's a Scandinavian name. Here, it's a black person. I don't see color, I see the human inside, but a lot of times the default's white, and you can, if someone is, it's based on the street here. Okay. 832. NWEC. Pines. All things being equal, there's more African Americans in the southern part of the country. That guy looks kind of like a white southerner. Pines, deciduous mix. I don't know. I think I was thinking about the wrong thing for too long. Ah, Houston area. Okay. Palm trees. 5th Street Southwest, Sapphire Way. So a lot of times when you have a grid, like 4th Street, 5th Street, whatever, and you're perfectly east and west or north and south, and you got all these palm trees, no mountains, somewhere in southeast Florida. 5th Street in Miami would probably have a lot more stuff, so it's one of these other small towns. Not small towns, but smaller towns. There's just not enough time in the world to look through all this stuff. But I think we're a little bit further away from the ocean. Let's just try here. Split the difference between Hollywood, Fort Lauderdale, Miami. Oh, it was much further north. Yeah, even here you got a little bit of a grid system. Vero Beach. And by grid, I mean north-south and the roads being all straight and stuff. So you see a lot of cities like Port St. Lucie, for example, main roads are not straight at all. They're twisty, twindy, whatever. I keep forgetting I'm wasting time. Um, Now I've burned half the next round, so I hope that this is a good one to jump right into. 51st and Oxbow. What on earth does that mean? This looks a little more upper south, lower Midwest. Already down to fewer seconds. Apartments. I'm gonna go Indianapolis-ish. Yeah, that was a little bit off, but I don't know if I'd have figured out that was Sioux Falls had I had more time. Okay. Here you got your mid-sized pines. You got kind of this southern to midwestern siding. No sidewalks. I find typically more midwestern places have sidewalks and more southern places don't. It's just a cultural thing. You could say it's be practical, why waste money? But it's also just there's a little bit more of a culture of having sidewalks, either in the north or probably in like a lot of Atlanta suburbs. I'm gonna go Huntsville. I've just gotten a few like this that are kind of like Huntsville area. Oh, it was North Carolina. See, it wasn't in a big city, but it was like a decent neighborhood. It's a bit lower here. There wasn't one where I was egregiously wrong. Here I was kind of grasping. It looked Midwestern, and you could say this is the fringe of the Midwest, but I was trying to go more towards averages. So, hopefully these 3 rounds just show a little something on how to navigate the U.S. a little better and not get hit for like horrible scores.